today's video. So you could ask the questions and then I'll just try as much as possible to cover the answers.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. So, I know obviously your strategy has a lot more taken into account than you're not just looking at the news or just basing it on the strategy that you showed me last time, like when one goes up and the other doesn't. That means like what other factors do you take into play when you came to know yesterday that was going to be a buy? How did you know that?
Okay, so the first factor was yesterday was Thursday, right? Now Thursday are
Yep,
very good trading days, but
yep,
looking at my chart and combining my two pairs, so I have the JP225, right?
yep.
So what I'm going to do is just zoom in. This is the 2 hours, so I'll change this to the 1 hour. Now, so put in my period separator.
Yep.
Right. So this was Thursday, this was Wednesday. Now, I want you to just notice right from Monday how this market reacts. Now, I remember we covered the last time about a break of the high or break of the low, right? Now, if I
Yeah.
have two highs, let's say I have this high and this high, what happens
Yep.
is if there's a break on US 30 and there's no break on JP225, then I know
I
it's going to be a
mean,
sell and the sell is going to be strong,
yeah.
right? Now,
Yep.
if there was a break on JP225, for example, there was a break of this level, but there was no break of that level here, this tells me there's
Yep.
going to be a sell, but it's not going to be as strong and the direction is not actually a sell. I don't know if you
Okay.
get the picture. So whenever there's a break on US 30 and no break on JP225, then I understand the sell is going to be a strong sell, right?
Yep.
And if there is no break on US 30, but there's a break on JP225, it's going to be a very weak sell. There will be a sell, but it's not going to be as strong as if there was a break on JP on US 30 and not this, right? So if you zoom back a little, you start to see those patterns like the last time we covered on the daily where we had this entry here, right?
Yep.
If you could
Yep.
remember, and I was telling you our expected take profit will be this spot and
Yep.
this, right? And now we're having a spot to the a race to which we'll first get to this point, like I covered on the last video. And you can easily
Yep.
see US JP225 got there first. So this verified that the take profit for this was already done.
Yep.
Now, secondly, if you zoom in a bit closer and you pay attention to the pattern just here. Now, this is the daily time frame. So these candles are, you could see the market has just been consolidating for the
Yep.
past 2 weeks. Now, there's this low right here that wasn't broken. But if you look closely at the JP225, that low was broken, right?
Yes.
So, and anytime there's a break of the low on JP225 and there's no break on US 30, then I expect a very strong buy. And that's why today's buy was very strong on after the NFP, even though we haven't covered the news or any other important part. Basically, you could see all the setup being fulfilled before the news, right? So um after today, after the close of the day, I had a sell. Right now, after closing my buy, I had a sell, and the entire reason is because if you look closely, I need to get this drawings out. So if you look at this high, just got broken, right?
Yep.
I think I should use this instead. So this high just got broken. Now we have the same high here, but it wasn't broken. So this tells me coming in Monday, I should actually expect a little sell. Now, same scenario of a sell on US 30 and JP 225. So first to get to this point, and I have a low here for the JP 225. So once there's a break on either two, now if the break is on JP 225, then I'll be looking to go long. And since the break will be on JP 225, meaning my long will be up to this level. So I'll be expecting this high to be taken out if there is a pullback, right? I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. Yep.
Okay, so so the picture is if I have how I determine what market, what direction my trade is going to go for the day is basically by understanding those two patterns we cover, which are the M and the W patterns, right? In the last video, we covered the M and the W, right? Now, remember the M is for a sell and W is for a buy. But since we have our two pairs, what we'll be looking at is if there's going to be a strong sell. So let's say we're looking to sell, right? So we say strong sell. So we can say SS, right?
Yep.
What we're looking for is US 30 should have a break of the high. So there will be a break of the high on US 30 to indicate a strong sell and no break on JP 225. Okay, so there will be a break on US 30, but no break on JP 225. So this gives us a very strong sell. But if there's a break on JP 225 and no break on US 30, the sell is going to be weak. So there will be a sell, but it will not be as strong as if we had our setup this way.
Okay.
Now for the opposite, for a strong buy, there will not be a break on US 30, but there will be a break on the JP 225. Now, I mean, this break of the low. So, you know, this is for a strong sell, and this is for a strong buy, right?
Okay.
This is for a strong buy. So we have the US 30 and the JP 225. Breaking this level on US 30 means a strong sell. Not breaking the level on US 30, but breaking on JP 225 means a weak sell.
Okay, so when that's all making sense. I think that's another level of understanding there of it's so if it's a strong buy, if the US 30 breaks down and the JPY doesn't, that's going to be a weak buy.
Yeah, that's it. So you could see, let's just see one example here. So on a higher time frame, you could see this, right? So there was a break on the US 30, but at the same time, there was no break on the JP 225. Now you could see this sell was actually a very strong sell before slowing down, right?
Yeah.
Now slowing down here was because there was a break of this level right here. If you zoom in, you notice that level, but there was no break of this level at the same time. So this went up a little because there was a break on US 30 and not on JP 225. So you could see the buy was weak and then got to this point and then sold, and this sold also. So if you go back to your chart, these are the patterns you'll be looking out for. So you could see if you now the thing is there can be a break on either two. So what you want to be aware of is which one is breaking the low and which one isn't. Because right here you could see there was a break of this low So there was a buy, but the buy wasn't as strong, and there was no break of this low. Right. Well, I think I have it the wrong way. I need to zoom in because having it this way, you can see clearly. Right. So here you have it. So
Okay, yeah.
you can see there was a break of this low on JP225, but not on US30. And you can see the buy was very strong because there was a break on this and not this. So the buy was very strong, and that's how you determine the strength of a sell or a buy, right? So the next thing you need to add to your list is news, because you can trade the market without knowing what's going on. So we had the NFP this week, and usually NFP week are very chubby. So there's always a consolidated market, and being able to understand what week you're trading also give you an edge, because once you're trading, I did send you the link to Forex Time for their weekly updates. I don't know if you checked that for last week.
For the, what was that? The what, sorry?
The Forex Time.
Forex Time. Okay, I was looking at Forex Factory. I don't.
No, I'm talking about Forex Time, where we spoke about their market analyst.
Yeah.
So you should also...
I never checked this one out. Okay, so I gotta make another note of that.
Yeah, so you go to so you go to the market analyst team, and you could easily see their outlook for the week. Okay.
And is there outlook for the week on
so
like across everything, or like?
Yeah, so for next week, because today is 6th, right? So for next week, week ahead, can US dollar fend off that cross? That cross? I have no idea what that means. So basically, you have the most important news for the week here. So you can see on Monday, we have Eurozone and so on and so forth. But the most important week news for the week will be the US December CPI, right? And after that, we have the job claims for next week. So this tells you there's going to be a lot of movement on Thursday. Okay. And understanding CPI, the movement might be very might be a whipsaw, basically, because CPI are usually in one direction, or they sell and then they buy. So once you're aware of those news and you're able to easily filter your levels, when you have a trade on, you don't just panic and say, you don't make your decisions based on your emotions now, right?
Yeah.
It's basically making your decisions from a standpoint of what the chart is telling you. So it's either going to be a strong buy or a strong sell, a weak buy or a weak sell. But these few indicators I've given you always give you an edge to knowing if this is a strong buy or a strong sell, right? Which is this.
So when will you know, like before Thursday, like when Wednesday night you look at the charts, or whenever you look at them, will you have a good idea which way this is going to move? Like, does it says it breaks the structure one way or the other? Like, is there ever a time you look at it and it doesn't do one of those four things that you just explained to me there, and you're like, I'm not sure? Or is it like every single time you can base some kind of opinion with the edge that you're talking about?
Every single time you could actually have an opinion on what's about to happen. And let's take, for example, you're having a buy here, right? And there was no break of the low on the other pair, and all of a sudden there's a break of the low. You have the reason why you have your risk management is in place is so you have time to think and to analyze over again. Now you have to understand, whenever you come to the market, most times you make your decision before the trade. So if you're feeling good, you probably will just be looking to sell. And if you have made that decision subconsciously and coming to the market and trying to look for a buy, and your mind will always play those tricks on you by showing you what you want to see,
Yeah.
right? So the importance of having your risk management in place is so you're able to have enough space to think about the decision you've made. Even if you're on a trade, you still have enough breathing space to decide, okay, I think this is not going to work out, so I should jump out, or I should hold on a little because I could see my levels. And
Yeah.
so if you have those levels, you know what to expect. You know there's obviously going to be a break of this high eventually, or this low eventually, right?
Yes.
So basically you're just looking at the levels, but since you have an edge, and that edge is the fact that you have an extra pair that helps you see what other people can see,
Yeah.
right?
So when you're like you mentioned that time about having the space and the risk management to haul out of a trade early if it's not looking good, like I know I've heard it both ways of like set your stop loss and take profit and leave it, or some people say like adjust it along the way. What way? I'm guessing that you kind of adjust it sometimes. You don't just leave it. You're watching the trade live, and maybe you'll haul out if it looks bad.
Yeah, no, I'm not always watching the trade live. Um, Once I'm on the trade, the basic things I do is check from time to time, number one. And also I have let's say I'm expecting a sell to this level right here, right? So I usually will have an alert set for this price target. So once this price target is hit, I'll be notified. So that way I don't have to
Yep,
be on the chart. But then knowing my risk is very minimum or very low, I'm able to have enough breathing space not to worry about blowing my account,
gotcha.
right? Because I don't always use a stop loss, and that's just how I trade, not because using stop losses are bad, but because I understand the market is dynamic and it's always changing, so I have to adapt and change. I mean, I just send a screenshot of my stats over the past few weeks, and literally we have about 43 trades, and I haven't taken a single hit or a single battery for the past
Well,
1 month, right?
the
And
past what one week,
a month.
1 month.
About, yeah,
Wow,
yeah. And I took about 43 trades or so.
wow. And are
Yeah,
all of those on the US 30?
yeah, all on the US 30, just US 30.
What time frame are you trading on? What time is your main one? Or do you
Well,
switch back
I can switch back to the 1 hour and the 4 hours. Basically,
one?
yeah, because if I'm trying to look for the long time trend, for example, like we covered the last time about the daily, right? But at this
Yep,
point, you realize we've already got into off got into our take profit, right? Which is this level. So we understand this was our take profit for these two trades. So one of our trades is on our take profit already, meaning we have to look for opposite direction and look forward to one of these trades getting to either this high, which is also this high, right? And
gotcha.
looking at this, you agree with me that there'll be a high probability of this getting to this high before forming a new cell, if there will be a cell at any time, of course,
Yes.
right? So,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
I have this on a higher time frame. Now I'm able to go back to the 4 hours, depending on how long I want to hold my trade, of course. Because if you're looking to trade um a trade of let's say 10,000 points, you probably will have to hold for longer than a day. But if you're trading
Yeah.
for the daily and you get this kind of opportunities on the 15 minutes, like all the opportunities that presented themselves this week, like you could see a break of this high, a no break of this high meant this day was a sell, right?
Yeah.
Now, if I sold on this day, I know I have one of my take profit here. and then I have the second here.
Okay.
No, I have the second here, right? So you could see this was already
Yes.
taken out and then a pullback, and you could see why all this was just consolidating, because there were so many levels at the same place. So you could see this high was this high, and then this high was taken
Yeah.
here, but this wasn't. Then there was a pullback, and now this was a new high, and this is also a new high, right? Now coming to
Yep.
today, this was the high, and this was the high. So the high for JP225 was broken right here. So this was a sell day. Now this sold and took out this low. Meanwhile, this low was not taken out. This low, which is also this low, was already taken out. So a buy. So basically, if you want to trade intraday or daily, this is what you have to deal with. A lot of noise, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like you cannot trade every day. Actually, you can, but then do you have the time? And then understanding you can only make few decisions a day once you're in the market, because you're emotional. That will also require you to pay attention to what's happening on the chart. So let's say you have to get to your job or you have something else you're doing. You might not have the luxury to always be checking what's happening.
Yeah.
So you could easily filter your days of trading to Thursday and Tuesdays. Because again, if you go back in time and study what happens, the direction of the market are always decided on those 2 days. And the reason why this week was different was because there was NFP, and NFPs are Fridays. And most times, the market, when anticipating an event, will usually wait for that event to make a decision. So now having everybody thinking, I think it's time to sell here. Now, a lot of people might have sold and then it broke the high, right? And I think at this level, we have people that are buying now because they feel there was a break of structure.
Yep.
Now, I know, I don't know how people trade, but I think the normal way people would think of this is there is now a break of structure.
Yep.
So a lot of people assume this is what will happen. They'll think this will be what will happen, a pullback, and then a continuation. And they'll be shocked whereby you get this. Because again, the market is designed to keep you emotional, right?
Yeah.
Design, that's why they have all these red buttons, blue buttons. It's like a casino, and these guys understand what colors have on your emotions, so they take advantage of that. Now, just because you're not aware of something in the market, that doesn't mean it's not there.
That's
Okay?
right.
So being aware actually gives you an edge, and the only edge you have is understanding I have these tendencies, and I also have those impulsive factors. Now, if I understand that part of trading, psychological part of trading, of course, that I cannot separate my mind from my body, and anything that affects my daily life will also affect my trading results. Now you're able to be more aware of yourself. Basically, I think since you study mindfulness, I believe you spend more time understanding your inner working, so you pay attention to what's going on in your mind. And a lot of traders don't, and that's why they end up just making irrational decisions. A lot of people think they are rational, but they are not. So you need to set rules and boundaries, like your leverage. Again, very important, especially when you don't understand fully my strategy. Because
Yeah.
I mean, if you really want to get what I'm talking about, you need to watch this video for about 3 to 4 times. I usually advise my students to watch my video more than once, because most
Yep.
times you miss some information I've passed, right?
Yep.
Because
Yeah,
this is a
sure, I will.
totally different concept, and I don't really think there's anybody out there that's using this, because I actually developed it myself. So I'm actually very sure there's nobody that will be in possession of this unless I taught them.
Yes.
So Okay.
Okay, so yeah, I have another question for you now. So when you see whether it breaks or not, how do you decide when to get in or like on that exact moment, like say it's broken on the US, it hasn't broken on the 225. How do you know when to get in? Like do you because just as it breaks, it might go a little higher on the
Okay.
US 30. How do you decide when to actually get in on that
Okay.
moment it breaks?
Now, I remember in our first class, I told you the market is designed to be time and price, right?
Yep.
So now we have time settled. No, we have time settled, yeah? I think we have everything on the time settled because we already have our patterns. Now, what we are looking for next is price. Now, I believe you guys have the $100 bill, right?
Yep.
You have 50. There's the
We
$50
have
bill
yeah, we have 52, yep.
and 20, 10, 5, right?
Yep.
Now, if you notice the market is designed at $1, then there's 5, right? Then there's 10. There's 20, 50, and 100, but there's no 3 or 2. Is there?
Oh, I think you cut out there for a second.
Okay, I was saying the money are printed in specific values like 5, 10, 20.
Yes.
So same thing with the market. It's just numbers. So what I want you to do is I actually have a number I work with, but I want you to go back and study and then see what you come up with, right? So I want you to use
Yep.
100 pips division, 100 points. So you have the 500 here, right? Then have another, let's say 300, and see how this number interplay in all levels. Because there might be 250 pips division or 100 or 500 points. So what you want to do is look at these round numbers like 50, 60, 70, 100. Okay.
Yep.
So those levels will be your entry. Now, because my entries are usually not random, they're usually at let's say sometimes at 3 3 500, 3 3 300, right? Or maybe 3 3 250, 750. So sometimes I could use 750, and sometimes I can use 100. So those are the levels I use for entries. But I think in the next class, we're going to cover basically more of that. I don't want to bombard you with a lot of information because I feel it would be easier to just have another call, and then once you go through
Yep.
this, then we discuss it again.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Because I don't, the last thing you were talking about there, this pricing on the side, I'm not grasping that yet. I kind of see what you're saying there, but I'm not really sure.
Okay,
So yeah,
I think
maybe,
we'll talk about it on the next call.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll
Yeah,
wait for that one. Okay. So that's how you're deciding to get in. Basically what you're going to tell me next time. That
yeah,
determines. Okay, and you're not just doing it at random points. Like it seems to you that the market makes the moves around these rounder numbers more often
yeah.
than not. Okay, cool. Definitely never heard of that before. Never thought of it. So it's another interesting concept to look into.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. That was great, and yeah, I look forward to learning some more. Would there, and if this is out of the question, no worries at all. I'm just going to ask. Would we be able to have like a 5 minute call on Wednesday and just like tell me in live time what way you're looking at the market and what you're thinking, like your strategy is playing into what's going to play out the next day, like just so I can see how you do it firsthand.
Okay, so what day would that be? I mean,
Uh,
I want you to give me a date and a time. So we actually just do it live, but then I need a specific date. What day would be preferable? Do you want a Wednesday demo or on a Thursday?
well, if you'd be trading on Thursday, right? Like this Thursday coming up, you'll be trading.
Yeah, I will.
Well, could we do it then, or like either the night before that when you're like, would you put the trades in Wednesday, or would you wait until Thursday and when you see in the market then and put them in?
No, if I'm trading on Thursday, I'll be waiting till 2 p.m. Thursday.
2
My
p.m.
time.
Thursday.
Yeah, that's New York Open.
Okay, New York Open. That's
Yeah, I think we covered the New York and London, so you
yeah.
should. So those are the times we trade. So Monday, Tuesdays are usually London, and anything from Wednesday we have the New York sessions. So I think
Okay,
we'll
yeah.
do
Well, would we?
Thursday, New York, right?
Yeah, Thursday. That'd be perfect. And whatever time works for you, I can make that work on Thursday.
No, we just do maybe oh, I'm trying to. Okay, well, we'll discuss the time. We'll discuss the timing on Wednesday then.
Okay, yep. Sounds good.
All right, that works for me.
All right.
Uh,
Well, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate your time and sharing this stuff, and I'll definitely pass along and recommend your stuff to whoever if you send it to me for sure because I'm getting benefit from it, and we're just starting, so I'm sure there's a lot more good to come.
All right, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks, brother. Have a good night. We'll
All
talk
right,
Wednesday.
all right.
Bye.